So the question before the judges was whether the National Assembly can stop the impeachment of their president, Cyril Ramaphosa. Today, Malema is saying the president must resign. President Ramaphosa came on TV, said he has work to do. He will not, but he has opted to challenge the decision of the Constitutional Court. Will he succeed? The question is not whether Ramaphosa is guilty of a criminal act. Remember, the president of South Africa enjoys criminal immunity. He cannot be prosecuted the same way President Ruto can. No African president has been removed from office through an impeachment process. Is this likely to succeed? The South African impeachment process is public. The committee is appointed. It is not a committee of members of parliament. It is not a committee of senators who can be bought like in this country. Are we seeing the last days of the president of South Africa? Welcome to Court Helicopter Trending Versions. We are looking at what is unfolding in South Africa. The president of South Africa, President His Excellency Ramaphosa, is facing a serious issue. Everybody got shocked when you saw him on Kenyan primetime TV stations. He's saying he's not resigning. What is it when you see a toad jumping on broad daylight? You know there's something about it. We sent our crew, Vivian, to South Africa. She has come back with what happened. This is case number CCT 35 of 2024. The decision came out in 2026. The hearing date, it was heard on 26th November 2024, and the judgment was issued on the 8th of May 2026. The case is the Economic Freedom Fighters and another versus the Speaker of the National Assembly and others. Case number CCT 35/24. On Friday, 8th May 2026, the Constitutional Court handed down a judgment in an application brought by the Economic Freedom Fighters and the African Transformation Movement regarding the Phala Phala controversy, which concerns the alleged theft of a large sum of foreign currency from the private Phala Phala wildlife game farm, commonly called Phala Phala, of President Cyril Ramaphosa, the president, and the circumstances surrounding that incident. 3 judgments were produced. The first judgment was written by Justice C.J. Meyer, Madalanga ADCJ, Rogers, and the others. So this is the judgment from the Constitutional Court. What are the facts in this matter? The President Cyril Ramaphosa, farm, he has wildlife that he has kept there. It is called Phala Phala Farm, the Phala Phala game farm. Several dollars were hidden in a wooden sofa set. So this money was stolen. So the question arose, how did this money get stolen? 2, how did this money come there? This is millions of money. How did this money reach there? Why was this money not kept in banks? In Kenya here, we keep our money under mattresses. Kumbe in South Africa, they put it inside the sofa set. I don't know whether, Vivian, you can check whether my sofa set has kept money here. That is the story in South Africa. The president hid money, serious money, in a sofa set and in sofa sets in Let us get the background of this case. Very interesting case. In June 2022, the ATM submitted a motion to the Speaker of the National Assembly in terms of Section 89 of the Constitution and requesting the National Assembly to initiate an inquiry into the removal of President Ramaphosa from office for his conduct in the Phala Phala controversy. That is the Speaker in South Africa, like our Speaker here, Kingi, or like our Speaker here, Wetangula. The Speaker appointed an independent panel which produced a report on 30th November 2022, finding that the information before it prima facie, on the face of it, established that the President may have committed, among other things, a serious violation of the Constitution and the law and serious misconduct. The committee found out that President Ramaphosa violated the Constitution of South Africa. On December 13, 2022, the report came before the National Assembly for debate and vote on whether to refer the report to the Impeachment Committee. So the report came to Parliament. In South Africa, it starts with a committee, it comes to Parliament, and if Parliament approves it, it goes to the Impeachment Committee. The National Assembly voted against referring the report to the Impeachment Committee for further examination. The applicants got mad. Okay, the South African people said, this is pesa imetembea in Parliament. They moved to the Constitutional Court. Remember, South Africa has the biggest jurisprudence on constitutional law. The applicants approached the court seeking to declare the National Assembly vote as unconstitutional. In addition, the applicant sought a declaratory order that Rule 1291 of the National Assembly Rules of South Africa is inconsistent with the Constitution and is invalid. The Speaker and the government of South Africa opposed the matter. The National Assembly, the President, and the African National Congress, the party, like the UDA in South Africa. The other respondents are all other political parties represented in the National Assembly. They made broad aligned arguments before the court. The applicant submitted that the application engages the court's exclusive jurisdiction because it concerns a failure of the National Assembly to fulfill its constitutional obligation under Section 89A of the Constitution to hold the President accountable. They contended that the National Assembly acted irrationally and unlawfully by blocking the referral of the report to the Impeachment Committee and by extension failed to exercise oversight of the President. The applicants further submitted that Rule 1291 is unconstitutional as it allows the National Assembly to block the establishment of an impeachment committee, even where an independent panel had identified a prima facie case against the President. According to the applicants, these renders the mechanisms of susceptible to majoritarian abuse. The Speaker and the National Assembly accepted that the court's exclusive jurisdiction is engaged, but argued that neither this rule. They submitted that the delay in challenging the National Assembly vote is unreasonable and should not be overlooked as it rendered the matter moot. Both the President and the ANC respectively submitted that the court does not have that exclusive jurisdiction. So the question before the judges was whether the National Assembly can stop the impeachment of their President, Cyril Ramaphosa. The three judges found out that the action of the National Assembly was unconstitutional, and they allowed the President to face an impeachment process. Remember, we dealt with Julius Malema. Julius Malema is a petitioner in this matter. Julius Malema claims President Ramaphosa framed him with the gun charges. Today, Malema is saying the president must resign. President Ramaphosa came on TV, said he has work to do. He will not, but he has opted to challenge the decision of the Constitutional Court through a judicial review approach. Will he succeed? Will he succeed? The question is not whether Ramaphosa is guilty of a criminal act. There are two processes. You keep your leaders in office through you check them through a criminal process. The DCI South Africa investigates, arrests, and charges. Remember, the president of South Africa enjoys criminal immunity. He cannot be prosecuted the same way President Ruto can. But he can be impeached. This is a political process by the people's representative. So Ramaphosa is not charged of any criminal act. Ramaphosa is facing the oversight role of the people of South Africa. All the voters of South Africa elect members of the National Assembly. The National Assembly has power to impeach their president, and therefore the parliament failed to do that. We are not saying Ramaphosa is guilty of any criminal act. He has violated the Constitution. Kenya has removed the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, through an impeachment process. Gachagua has not been arrested and been charged of any criminal offense. He violated a political constitutional question. The punishment is an impeachment from office, not through the criminal process. So what we are seeing is a similar process. What Gachagua faced in this country is what is opening up in South Africa. No African president has been removed from office through an impeachment process. The former president of South Africa, President Zuma, was taken to prison for having committed offenses of corruption when he had exited office. Who removed him? Cyril Ramaphosa is a beneficiary that removed this Zuma from office. Is Ramaphosa facing the same music his predecessor Zuma faced? Yes. Is this likely to succeed? The South African impeachment process is public. The committee is appointed. It is not a committee of members of parliament. It is not a committee of senators who can be bought like in this country. Are we seeing the last days of the president of South Africa? My take, and from Court Helicopter, is that we wish the president the best he can fight legally to survive, and we wish the South African people the best they can get, because the questions of corruption, it raises serious fundamental questions. How did this money, state money, land itself? South Africa has a central bank that keeps the state money. South Africa has a well-established bank system that this money was supposed to be kept. Our job is to get you the law, and Court Helicopter has brought you the law. Now you understand why Phala Phala might be our Kasarani. In Kasarani, President Moi and JJ Kamodo called it kichinjio cha wanasiasa. South African Constitutional Court is not a joke. Let us see the power has been given to the people. The Kenyan Constitution says, we the people, we are the sovereign. The Constitutional Court has said, we the people of South Africa, we are the sovereign. Go deal with your president the way you know best. Wakili Dan Sanomari from Court Helicopter News.